Batman, The Return of the Caped Crusaders is the latest from Warner Animation Group as well as DC, and this one's going to be an animated throwback to the original 1966 television show and 1969 movie, which starred Adam West, Burt Ward, and Julie Newmar. Now, in this cartoon, they all reprised their roles as Batman, Robin, and Catwoman, respectively. Now, I was really looking forward to this animated feature. I had grown up watching the original television show and movie. My grandpa used to record the episodes off of like TV Land onto VHS tapes for me, and I would always watch all the episodes back to back, and I would be completely sucked into each episode. It was probably my first real introduction to Batman, other than like the 90s animated series. So this was kind of a big deal for me. It was pretty special because it's a throwback to not only my childhood, but something I had with my grandparents, which was pretty cool. And of course, I had pretty high expectations because Warner Animation Group also does a lot of the other Batman animated features, and they've done a lot of really good ones, including like Under the Red Hood and The Dark Knight Returns. Just a couple of really good animated Batman films, some even better than the actual like live action films, so my expectations were pretty high for this. The story of the film centers around Batman and Robin having to stop the Joker, Penguin, Riddler, and Catwoman from a nefarious plot. Now, Catwoman scratches Batman with like this concoction that makes him basically toss out his morals as Batman and have a criminal mind. Then it becomes up to Robin and Catwoman to get the old Batman back in order to stop the Joker, Penguin, and Riddler. The voice acting in this animated feature was phenomenal. It's great to hear Adam West, Burt Ward, and Julie Newmar reprise their classic roles, especially when it's been like 50 years since their television show. So it's kind of a big deal to hear them again and still feel that sense of Batman and Robin, but in a way that we haven't seen them in quite a long time. Now, I do have to say that although it's great to hear their voices, it's kind of difficult if you're a Family Guy fan to hear Adam West speaking as Batman, because it's the same, he talks the same exact way when he's Mayor West from Family Guy.
Ah, I'll get all of the A's out of my body. Ah!
So it's kind of hard to hear that separation because the older Batman has gotten, the older Adam West has gotten, he sort of talks in one sort of tone. Like, it's still Adam West's tone, but it sort of has become a lot more singular. When he was on the show in 1966 and in the original movie, he sort of had a lot more inflection in his voice. He would sort of talk softer. He would sort of more talk like James Kirk from like the original Star Trek TV shows with William Shatner. He would sort of talk like this. Like, it was sort of like this weird thing. I don't know how to do it that well, but like it's kind of, you hear it a lot with when Adam West is talking as Bruce Wayne / Batman. You definitely sort of hear it a little bit, but he sort of has this one sort of tone now as he's gotten older, which is kind of unfortunate, but it's still great that they were able to get these people to reprise their classic roles. The story was also pretty interesting. It was definitely a story that I didn't expect from this tone of a Batman. Not that it was necessarily dark, but it's just something that most Batman comics and movies have yet to explore. So it's kind of interesting to see sort of a new take or a new sort of storyline without it being something dark and brooding like we're used to seeing today. A ton of great care was put into making this film, which I really appreciated as being a fan of the original Batman. There were tons of great throwbacks to the original television show, including awesome stuff like the Bam and Pow splash frames when the characters are fighting, which I thought was really cool for them to include. Burt Ward had a ton of great dialogue that he had that was super over-the-top, dramatic, campy sort of stuff that he would say. Of course, the holy blank Batman was always continuing.
Holy entree, Batman.
Also, it included tons of the over-the-top and ridiculous sort of gadgetry that Batman had from the original show, like the Bat computer, the old classic Batmobile, Bat's like sleep spray, tons of great little gadgets that were throwbacks to the original show. And the fan service goes even further than that, because there were whether spoken references or visual references to other classic things from the show, including the references to there being 3 Catwomen, Eartha Kitt, Julie Newmar, and there was a third actress that played Catwoman. There's sort of a moment where it shows all 3, which I thought was really interesting because I didn't know how they would play to that. They would just say Julie Newmar was the only Catwoman, but they really gave a lot of respect to that moment. Also, there's tons of great little cameos for other classic villains, including Louis the Lilac, King Tut, Egghead, the classic Mr. Freeze, and Falseface, who was also sort of a reference to Two-Face, which was pretty interesting. So there's tons of great references to that, as well as to doing a lot of fan service. They also did a lot of new, refreshing things to keep the story pretty interesting. Now, because Batman was done in 1966 and 1969 with the movie, they weren't able to do a lot of interesting visual things, although they did a great job, don't get me wrong. At the time, they did phenomenal. But now that they're in a cartoon medium, they can take the characters a lot further. They can do even more over-the-top things, which they definitely show. They go to space. They're up in space station for a little while. They get into like this abandoned TV dinner factory where Batman and Robin have to escape. Just a lot of over-the-top things that they may not have been able to do in the classic show. But now because they're in a different medium, especially with that particular version of Batman and Robin, that they really can explore and have a lot more fun with. As much fun as I had watching this film, there were very minor flaws scattered throughout. Mainly being, again, Adam West sort of having that singular tone of talking for an hour and 18 minutes, which, don't get me wrong, I love Adam West, I always have, but it's kind of gets old after an hour and 18 minutes. Like, he just has sort of that one sort of speaking tone for the entire film, and that can get kind of wearing, but luckily it's sort of broken up with other characters' dialogue, so it's not something that you constantly have to hear. My other issues with the film include just super minor things, just being a pure Batman fan of the original television show. Like the Batcopter is a totally different design, but I think that might have just been because the original helicopter and the one in the cartoon are different. I think that's just a design choice. Maybe it was just easier to draw the new one than it is to draw the old one. Another big flaw that I noticed about this film, and again, this is just because I'm a pure Batman fan from the original show, the Batcave is backwards. And as soon as I saw that, I went, the Batcave is backwards. I could not believe that they got such a minor detail wrong. When Batman and Robin first slide down those poles, they appear on the right of the screen when you're watching it, and the Batmobile's in the middle like it should be, and the car exits out of the left. Now, if you ever watched the original TV show like I did, that's backwards. The poles are on the left, the exit's on the right. Maybe that's just something small, nitpicky that I noticed, but it just irks me as a fan that they got so much detail into this animated feature that those tiny little details they just didn't get right. And although it's stupid, I just think that was something that clearly should have been fixed. Hashtag just nerd things. The grade I'm going to give Batman Return of the Caped Crusaders is an A. This film was definitely a lot of fun. It may have its flaws here and there, but it was a lot of fun to see Batman and Robin in that classic 60s style, but bringing a lot of new, fun, interesting things, especially since, again, we've seen this character be brooding and dark since like 1989, and it hasn't let up, other than like the Joel Schumacher versions, like Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. But he's always been dark, and that's how people really like him. But they forget how Batman started as Adam West and Burt Ward as Robin. And they forget that he was cartoony. He was bright. There were bright colors. He was trying to do the right thing. He was morally morally right. Like, they forget a lot of the things that Batman started from. They know him as the brooding character, but they forget where he started from in this cartoony, campy way. So it's kind of fun to see that, especially now with what Batman has become known as. So as a fan and as someone who loves Batman both old and new, it's just sort of refreshing to see, yeah, the dark stuff is great, but don't forget where we came from.
So fast.
But we're in a hurry, Batman!
Jaywalking is extremely hazardous.
Gosh, yes, you're right, Batman.
Quickly, Robin, to the crosswalk.
If you want to check out Batman Return of the Caped Crusaders, it's available now on digital and has been since October 11th, but it's going to be on Blu-ray and DVD as of November 1st. So you can watch it on digital early if you want. You can buy it, or you can wait till it comes out on disc. Of course, I couldn't wait, being a Batman purist, but I definitely had a lot of fun watching it. Also, they're in development for a second one, which they're working on now. And fun fact that William Shatner will be doing the voice of Two-Face, who never appeared on the original television show. So it should be kind of interesting to see what they do with that character in this style, because he was never done. Like I said earlier, they did Falseface, which was kind of a riff on Two-Face. Two-Face was sort of like a canceled episode from the original show, so it should be interesting to see what they do with that. So guys, that's my review for Batman Return of the Caped Crusaders. If you've seen it, let me know, as well as what your favorite animated superhero film is down in the comment section below. And if you like this video, be sure to leave a thumbs up, as well as hit that big subscribe button so you can see future content. And go onto my channel and check out some of my other videos that I've done, including my Luke Cage Season 1 review, as well as my Power Ranger teaser trailer review, which I will leave links to in the description below, as well as up in the corner here, so be sure to check those videos out as well. Guys, thank you so much for watching. You really are the best, and I'll see you in the next one.